Right, we are back in action. Part 2. It rudely cut me off. Ten Hag snipped me wire outside. He's done me virgin boxing. Anyone who saw him getting on the plane the other day, he was heading to my local area of Eccles just to cut my fucking network off. So when I was live on stream before, basically that's what happened. So I was just getting into groove then as well. I was really getting into my mode. There's loads of people interacting. We was having a fantastic conversation. Ten Hag comes in with the snippers, get to fuck, you're gone, basically, is what happened. But we're back, and we're back with some fresh news. So upwards and silver linings and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we just had some news breaking that he's going to be in charge, basically, for the Chelsea game, or at least the hope, or they want him in for the Chelsea game. So Ruud van Nistelrooy is only going to be in charge of, I think, one game. I think Leicester in the Cup, that's it. And then, yeah, Amorim will come in on against Chelsea. So first and foremost, get your thoughts and feelings in on that. Let me know if I sound good, if the connection's fine. If this goes again, I might throw my PC out the window and just be done with streaming entirely. And also with the news ticker, I don't know what's going on with that. So let me just sort this out because that looks weird. Yeah, I feel like there's some kind of higher power that's trying to destroy me today. I don't know what it is. But you're not going to have me. You're not going to destroy me. Because I'm still here. Why is this stream lagging on there? Is it lagging on your end, guys? Please don't tell me it's lagging again. Let me know in the chat, please, because you are the eyes and ears of this. It says it's fine on OBS. But then I'm looking at YouTube Studio and it's lagging. So I don't want to continue the stream and give you some gold and knowledge if it's doing that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I will continue when you guys let me know. I don't want to give it, go into it if it's being dead buzzy and laggy. So talk to me, people. Whilst I have a sip of my Pepsi. And I'll discuss the Chelsea news. So, if you can hear me, the report's coming in today that Man United officials travelling to Lisbon to seal the deal for Ruben Amorim. United intend to close an agreement immediately after Sporting's game tonight, because as I referenced before, they are they're playing at Nacional, I think, and everything's going as it should be. Remember the whole situation with Ole? Was he going? Was he not? Is Conte going to come in? Are they going to sack him over the international break? It was just felt everything United do typically is extremely slow in it. It's always super slow. But with this, I mean, this is the quickest I've seen a team move on a manager, honestly. And it's nice. I always look at like Liverpool, for example, with Slot. It was like no one really. There was noise about Xabi Alonso and a few others. He just came in, boom, done. I even go as far back as I think it was Fabinho, where you heard a little bit about it the day before and the deal was done. And this is out in the Ossa movement. I said it in the show before. People didn't really know. There was no journalist who had the jump on this situation about Ruben Amorim. No one. Talk Sport were absolutely pushing out there last night. Nagelsmann. Other reporters pushing Thomas Frank, etc., etc. And no one had it. So, that's something nice, I suppose, to cling on to. And I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it that it's gone down like this, because I think you do need an instant change. You guys know our league position. We're currently 14th. We're on 11 points, -3 goal difference. We've literally won a couple of games. We haven't won in Europe at all yet. What kind of impact realistically is Ruben Amorim going to have in the Chelsea game? I don't know why it's a thing, but manager bounces are real. There's so many points you can reference to see when they're coming in, especially teams that we've played as well, where we've always played a team that's just a new manager's come in and there's something different. The manager himself, so Enzo Maresca in this case with Chelsea at the weekend, he would have had a setup potentially like, this is how we're going to deal with Ten Hag. Because you look at how Ten Hag sets up, right? There's a deep line. The wingers are pushed. It's like a 4-2-4 kind of shape. The wingers are pushed right on. We don't have athletic midfielders, so you can get at them there. We don't really press as a collective. We're not compact at all, so there's spaces to play in. And some of our players aren't great 1v1. So there's plenty of areas, and I think the whole Liverpool game kind of encapsulated that, right? So Enzo Maresca might have been setting up for that. He might be like, right, this is where we can get a Ten Hag. You watch them any game of the season, they are one of the easiest teams to play against off the ball. Ruben Amorim comes in, you've got a completely different system to tweak and deal with there. I'm sure they'll still implement their game because they are the informed team. They are doing really well at the moment, and we should be more concerned than they are, given the current form of both teams. But I'm saying his plans, he'll have to tweak his plans now. I don't know if he's come up against Amorim before, for example. But if he comes in, Amorim's like, right, we go to a back five. We've got these wing backs, changes the system. It's a tweak. So tactically already it's different. And then the momentum of a new manager come in, the lease of life it gives players, which I'm not always a fan of, because I think, well, if you've got this in your locker, why have you not been doing it under all these previous managers? That pisses me off when I see that. So I really don't like that. But it's going to have an effect. And if we can... I think what's respectable at the minute, and I don't like saying this as a Manchester United fan, but look at our form. We've won 2 or 3 games. Getting a draw away from this and a good, solid performance would be a good start. It's a difficult start for Amorim. A very difficult start. You look at Ole, his first game was QPR, right? I think. I can't remember Jose's first game. Really can't remember Jose's first game. I wish I could. My memory's so bad. But yeah, Andy Williams, spot on. Put Ugarte on Palmer and let him kicking around. Well, Ugarte played his best football under Ruben Amorim. I think people forget that. Statman Dave put out something before about Ugarte at Sporting Lisbon, and some of his stats are absolutely ridiculous. I'll get it up now. So, in 2022-23, the Premier League under Ruben Amorim, Manuel Ugarte ranks in the top 1% of midfielders in Europe for the following metrics: pass completion 91.6%, ball recoveries 9.38, tackles and interceptions 6.81, tackles attempted 4.63, tackles won 2.64, shots created via defensive action 0.27. He was an absolute beast under Amorim. So look, it's question marks over Ugarte at the minute. Why is he not coming to the team? There was reports, well-known reports that Ten Hag didn't really want to bring him in. He wanted to keep McTominay and all this other kind of stuff. So that's one positive, I suppose, will come in. The way I think he's going to set him up... No, I'm saving it. I'm going to do it in the video. I'm getting too tempted to really dive into it here, but I want it to be a separate video on its own. But you all make a great point. AJ saying, hope he can make the step up to the Prem. That you've just reminded me, AJ. Thank you very much. I was midway through a point in the last stream that I did when it cut off around the 20-minute mark. And I was talking about all the positivity around the new manager now and everything he's going to bring, and his tactics are fantastic, and he's a great man manager and all this kind of stuff, which is good. However, we was all saying the same thing about Erik Ten Hag in the Eredivisie at Ajax, wasn't we? We was all discussing it, saying, look at the possession style. On average, he scores, 2 or 3 goals a game, like something ridiculous like that. Possession, he has about 70-odd%. He dominates games. He destroys teams. He worked with the likes of Frenkie de Jong. He worked with the likes of De Ligt, who's at our club now. With Donny, all these guys, and look how amazing he was. And then, you look at the translation, and he ended up saying, "Oh no, I can't play how Ajax played. I haven't got the players." What we're going to be is the best transitional team in Europe, and that went wah, wah, and failed. So you make a great point, AJ. Is what I'm saying. Can you make that step up to the Premier League? Will it translate over? Because it's okay, they're playing Nacional tonight. I didn't even know there was a fucking team. I know International. How Jamie Carragher would say, Internationale. Hello, Internationale. Nacional, I had never heard of before. I didn't even know there was a team. And Sporting Lisbon are playing them tonight. So I'm saying the level of the competition is, miles different to the Premier League. You look at City against Southampton, for example, last week. That's the best team in the Prem against the worst team in the Prem. And City had to work for it, to be fair. They won 1-0, but they had to work for it. And Southampton had the odd opportunity. And I always remember Ralf Rangnick coming in. And I remember him saying, even the difference to the Bundesliga to the Premier League, like when you're a Bayern Munich or someone and you play a team near the bottom, it's going to be a 5-1, 6-1. Kane's going to get a hat-trick, Sane will probably get a couple of goals. And, you get your packed lunch, your tuna butties, and you're done for the day. You get a nice hot warm bath, get the mud off your legs, and you watch the rest of the football over the weekend. In the Premier League, it's not like that. You play Everton, you go to Goodison Park, and you're like, this is going to be a dogfight, mate. This is going to be an absolute scrap. You've got to fight for every single point. So I think he's going to have... I'm sure he'll have an idea. He'll know the Premier League very well. He'll know the players in there. I'm sure he's watched a lot of games, the top teams in there. The translation is the bit where it's like, it's difficult. But one thing I'll say about Ruben Amorim in comparison to Erik Ten Hag, I never felt like Ten Hag had that character and personality that either, one, worked with the media. Like, he was nice to the media, and, you know, he'd give him some shit. I think he kicked Luckhurst out, didn't he? And a couple of, maybe Custard as well. Neil Custis, we call him Custard on the show. Welcome, subscribe to the channel. But I think he has that character, he has that presence. If you watch him in press conferences, he has that charm, is what I'm saying. And I think what you need as a manager in this modern kind of era, you can't just be a strict kind of head teacher focal point. It just doesn't brush off with the players. You see the relationship that Rude has with some of the players. That seems like he has that connection, that human connection. Ten Hag seems to be that figure where, you know, like almost in school, when you have a teacher and you're like, he's a bit of a knobhead, you know, we just crack on with the work. I'm not calling Ten Hag a knobhead, but I'm just giving an example. He's a bit of a knobhead, but we'll just crack on with the work and we'll see how it goes. And then the supply teacher comes in and goes, come on, lad, look, you're better than this. I know you're better than this. We've got a good respect level, right? Let's do this together. And I feel like it's one of those in it that that he has that connection with. So I think Ruben Amorim has a good balance of those. And yeah, I think he's going to find it tough. I like the fact, sorry, I'll go back through comments. If you are this is a new stream, by the way, for people who are just joining, so please do smash a like on the video for us, get those likes up and subscribes as well, because we're trying to push these numbers back up to what it was before. It's a shame because we were having such a good chat. Gamer TV says, I think these players were bought in for Amorim for sure. Sean saying the players brought in for the club's philosophy, not any particular manager. Ugarte seems likely, hence why Ten Hag kept dropping him. Rayanator says the problem with Ten Hag is he admitted openly he won't or just can't play that way here. Olaseni Satunde says Casado level is above Ugarte. Go and watch his performance against Uruguay. Casado schooled him. Look, isolation of performance, that can happen. Look at Rashford against Trent a couple of years ago. Absolutely rinsed him. But then Trent's had a good performance against him since. So, it's one performance can't dictate a full player's career. I'm sorry. Olasande, Lavia is better than Ugarte. I like Lavia. Olasande, I just feel like you're a Chelsea fan at this point. James McGoggin, good to see you in the chat as well. Welcome, brother. Hope you're all well. Hope everyone's well. Sean, Elite Gamer, Rayanator, AJ, all you guys that are in the chat. Sorry for me. Andy, sorry for missing out any names at all. But yeah, just if you are just joining, the latest news is that Amorim should be available for Chelsea. That's the intention of Manchester United. Whether it happens or not, I'm not sure. We've got some quotes coming in from Pep Guardiola on Erik Ten Hag, which is interesting. He says he's so sorry for Erik Ten Hag's dismissal. He'll come back stronger. And he says football management is the only job where people want you to get the sack. It doesn't happen to architects. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I saw a picture this morning of the FA Cup final where Ten Hag stood next to Pep. Pep's got his head in his hands like that. And Ten Hag's just like that. And it's like, if one picture, it obviously doesn't tell the full story, does it? It really, really doesn't, because Pep's been hugely successful at Man City, 4 in a row, treble, all that nonsense. But Ten Hag, in a one-off game, tactically outdone him. The players had a better performance, won a significant trophy against your Manchester rivals. But then you watch performances like Crystal Palace away, Bournemouth beat us 3-0. Liverpool game. You know, Brentford. The Brentford game. Even the Brentford draw. I know Brentford beat us like 4-0. That was shocking. But then the Brentford draw, where they had like 30 shots on goal, was just an absolute battering. A couple of the West Ham games. It's probably ones that I'm forgetting. But there's been some absolute shockers underneath him. And I don't... What I can't comprehend as a fan, right, watching us, is how can we perform like we did in the FA Cup final against such a good team and look really good, and then go off in games like we've seen this season and just perform really, really bad. It's weird. It's so weird. How can you have such a drop-off? I don't get it. I really... And Ten Hag, likewise with his coaching staff, must be just scratching their heads thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Like, in training, they're unbelievable. It just doesn't translate over to the pitch. So Amorim's got his work cut out. He has got his work cut out getting what he wants out of these players. And I think what you'll get is, I think you might see a similar pathway. Him come in, do really well, probably win, you know, a trophy or two. Everyone's buzzing. This new system is great. he starts seeing a few kind of chinks in the armour, and then the downfall happens from there. And people saying, keep him, don't keep him. Oh, another manager lost in the next 2 years. It feels like this is going to be the 7th chapter in the book that we have already seen again. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Sorry to sound like a negative person, but yeah. Anthony rips Cucurella every time he's played him. Outside the foot assist, don't forget that, Andy. Sancho got subbed off at half-time. Can Sancho play against us, by the way, at the weekend? He can, right? I know. Let me reiterate that. I know we sold him on a permanent, but there was a clause in there, wasn't there, that if he finished above 14th, they have to pay 25 mil, right? So I'm just not sure what the specifics was in that deal, and if it was like, well, Sancho can only play against us if it's. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't get it. He can't play against us, can he not? Interesting. But why, though? Because it's a permanent sale, innit? So why can't he play us? Sean, I keep seeing these Coke Pepsis. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. Pepsi is better than Coke. Pepsi is better than Coke. Coke gets boring, man. Coke Zero, full fat Coke. It's boring. Pepsi Mac is a better flavour. If I'm sat there now, if you brought an alien down from another planet, right? He'd probably never had Coke before or Pepsi. But you bring him down from another planet and you sit him down and you pour cold Pepsi Max in a glass with ice and a cold Coke and they take a sip, they're going to go, I don't know how aliens would speak. This is how I imagine they'd speak in my head. Pepsi. That's what they would do. There you go. I'm glad we settled that debate. Amorim needs to lose first. I don't think my mind is competent enough to lead us back to a decent form. So let him hate on us. Amorim will be given time for sure. He's on loan with an obligation. Right, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Right, so he definitely can't play against us. Because I can't be asked with that narrative of Sancho getting an assist or a goal and every single fucking fanboy online on Twitter or Instagram, wherever it is, going, you didn't know about his game, I told you he's a baller, no. It's like, right, he's had 3 assists, chill the fuck out, and then since then, did you watch him in the last game? He was dog shit. He was doing the same things that he was doing at Manchester United that he's doing at Chelsea, just running into wing-backs. Not being able to beat him because he's not quick. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason I bought Chelsea United tickets. I want Sancho to get the Di Maria treatment. Straight into the boards, in it. Do you remember that? Ashley Young. Bosh. Straight into the advertisement boards. Yeah, give me a bit of that. Shreyas is saying Fanta's chipping in with a Fanta chat. Listen, you can all have your own opinions. This is what it's about. Whether it's a sporting opinion or whether it's... But this right here, I don't have a brand deal with Pepsi. If you want to sponsor me, then please do. This right here is one of the best drinks. And I won't have it any different. It is. Top tier stuff. And I'll scrap anyone who thinks different. That's what I'm saying. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Are we excited about that Chelsea game on the weekend? Does it make you feel nervous? Yeah, I don't know how I feel. Some more quotes coming in saying, I always feel sorry for the managers to lose his position. It's from Guardiola about Ten Hag. I have an incredible relationship with him. He represented United in the highest way. I wish him all the best and he's going to come back stronger. Everyone knows our job's dependent on results. That just sounds like a line out of his notebook. He's not really asked. The whole Ballon d'Or, I know this isn't a City thing, but the whole Ballon d'Or situation is interesting, isn't it? And actually, I've got a bit of gossip for you. So, funny story, right? So, where I work, it's like a football place. It's five-a-side. And I tend to come across like quite a few footballers like Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, these kind of guys. And there's some other like content creators like Angry Ginge has a team there as well. And I was speaking, actually, weirdly enough, for about an hour yesterday to Phil Foden about Rodri. And he already told me basically like, he's won the Ballon d'Or. Like he's definitely going to win it. He deserves it. And he was going back and forth. Like, do you not think Vinicius deserves it? He's like, Vinicius has been good, but you know, Rodri up close is unbelievable. He's one of the best players I've ever played with. When City don't have him, they look a completely different team, and that's saying something about the best team. And this is from, you know, player who's won Premier League Player of the Season last year. But he was chatting to me about Rodri and the specifics, and it gives you a bit of an insight. When you hear it from a player, it's like, yeah. So, I think, what did Real Madrid do? Did they boycott it or something? Saying that they don't respect Real Madrid. Vinicius should have won it, or Carvajal should have won it. I actually thought it was a little bit disrespectful from Madrid, to be honest with you. I thought regardless of whatever your thoughts are of the situation, you know, like, if there's a player there, and look, I hate City more than the next person, but if there's a player there who's won the Ballon d'Or, and you can't say he's not, done it on merit. The guy's won a Euros, he's won the Premier League, and he's been one of the best midfielders on the planet. So, look, you can argue Vinny maybe should have won it. I get what you're saying, I understand it. But I'm just saying Rodri has been unbelievable. So it's a close bar, innit? You know what I'm saying? It's not like Lewandowski when he didn't get it, or, maybe Virgil van Dijk. I'm saying, or when Henry didn't get it, when Nedved won it, everyone was saying he got robbed, basically. I don't know, I just thought it was a bit distasteful for me, for a club like Real Madrid not to turn up to the Ballon d'Or because Vinny didn't win it. Andy's saying Vinny should have won it, though Rodri should have won last year. Madrid were disgraceful with the way they handled the Ballon d'Or. Makes me even more happy Vinny didn't win it. I want to know what happened to the Ten Hag that did laps with them players because the team didn't cover enough ground in previous games. Do you remember that? Oh my God, that feels so long ago. Doesn't it, Jay? Feels like so long ago, that. When after that Brentford it was just before the Liverpool game, wasn't it? And everyone was like, what's he doing? Taking him on a run. And he went on with them as well when he's not necessarily as fit. And then they beat Liverpool, and that was like a big crazy. Nedved was mint, loved him. Listen, I was one of the biggest Nedved fans. When you talk about nostalgia and going back to that kind of era with like Juventus and Del Piero and Trezeguet and all these guys, I've got a shirt from when they got relegated with the turmoil sponsorship on the front, with Nedved on the back of it. Like, I'm a mega fan of him. He was a phenomenal player. But I'm just saying, Henry should have won the Ballon d'Or. 1,000,000% should have won the Ballon d'Or that year. So that's what I mean. Like, in comparison with that, the Rodri Vinny, you can't tell me there was a big gap in that between them to win it. I thought Rodri should win it. Midfielders don't tend to get it. It always seems to be attacking players. Go throughout the years. Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lewandowski should have won one. Kaká before that, wasn't it? You had Dino, Nedved. They're all like attacking players. Rivaldo was another one. Midfielders never ever win it. I'm not saying that should be the reason why you just give it him, but I feel like they're underappreciated because the wingers are the attractive ones, the attacking ones. Watch Rodri week in, week out, and some of the goals that he scored as well. That's what Foden said to me yesterday. He was like, have you seen the goals that he scored in the finals and semi-finals? And like, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Still got my Nintendo Fiorentina shirt with Batistuta on the back. Funny story, actually, Sean. So to go back to my work again. Sorry, I know people are tuning in for United news. I'll get back to that in a moment. At my work yesterday, there's a team that they call Fake Madrid. And they all wear a purple... Remember the purple Madrid shirt from Real Madrid when it was 2017 in Cardiff when they won it? I think Mandzukic scored. It might have been against Juventus. I can't remember. But like I said, my memory isn't the best. But that purple shirt, and they've all got like names on the back. So there's a guy who's bald, and he's called himself Roberto Hair Loss. And he's like a theme of that, basically. But there was one player who had that, because it was a purple theme kind of kit. There was one player who had that exact shirt on with Batistuta on the back, number 9. It just reminded me then that Nintendo kit. But yeah, it's absolute fire, that. David Beckham was robbed when Rivaldo won it. Yeah, I can't really remember much of that, to be honest, because I was born in 95, so I would have been like 4-5 years old when that happened. But I know Rivaldo scored an iconic goal, didn't he, like an overhead kick in Europe. He had decent stats, like 17 goals, 12 assists, was it, I think? Something like that. So, yeah, there has been controversy with this Ballon d'Or situation. I just didn't like what Madrid did, basically, is what I was trying to say. I went around the houses there about explaining it, but, yeah, I just didn't like what they did, even though it is, kind of a City player. Some news coming in about Antony, and Steve Rail's doing some news on Ineos as well. Ineos freshened up Erik Ten Hag's coaching staff and hired Ruud van Nistelrooy, René Hack, and Andreas Georgesson, but it wouldn't be a surprise for Amorim to want Fernandes and Candido to join him in Manchester, so we could have a change in the coaching staff. Steve Railston's pretty good with that kind of stuff. United will cut their losses on Antony following Erik Ten Hag's sacking. The Brazilian has been told he can't leave the club in January. Who knows? We've seen stranger things. Maybe Antony will play as a wing-back in Amorim's system. Slightly joking, but I don't know. That is a hard L for United to take, innit? paying 85 million quid for Anthony to then probably send him out on loan or sell him for 15 mil. I mean, honestly, when you look at net loss on some players that we've sold, I know I've been through it before, but let me just remind you again, just in case you forgot. Jadon Sancho, £70 million, or 72, whatever it was, right? 25 mil. That's a £50 million loss. Harry Maguire, £80 million. What you're going to get for it is probably going to go to free, right? That's an £80 million loss. Anthony, £85 million. Probably going to go for 15 million. Let's say 20 if you want to be generous. That's another 65 million lost on top of that. Paul Pogba, £90 million. Went for free again, didn't he? Went on a free again. You could go through the fucking millions of players that we've bought for astronomical amounts of money. Alexis Sanchez, we had to loan out and pay half his wages, which was still like 250 grand a week when he went to Inter Milan. United have absolutely shit money up the wall. Badly. Mason Mount, on his last year of his contract, £60 million. Chelsea went and bought Cole Palmer for 45. So, look, I know Ineos have come in with this new kind of structure. Yoro, Xerxes, Delete, Mazraoui, a couple of good pieces of business there. But actually, when you deep it on reflection, United's recruitment, my God, it's been so bad, hasn't it? It's been so bad. And I think Anthony could go in January on loan or for 15 million quid back to the Eredivisie or wherever he's going to go. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. United waste money like a lotto winner in a brothel. Sean can always rely on you for the good old analogies. You can see how Ineos are trying to limit that. We've probably just made 30 mil on Mazraoui. Yeah, I agree. Mazraoui for 12 million, fucking phenomenal business. I think Lenny Yoro, if he develops how we think he is going to be, he could be £100 million centre-back in a few years' time. But the prices that we've paid, even Rasmus wasn't a £70 million striker when we bought him. Fucking no chance. He was a £40 million striker, but we paid 70 because we're idiots. And the list is endless, my friends. The list is endless. I actually think the only decent bit of business that we've done, really, Bruno Fernandes for 50 million, you're like, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good buy. The rest of it, pre-Ineos, I'm not sure. Like Haaland not winning it after scoring 65 goals and winning the treble, but Messi won the World Cup and got the golden ball. Exactly. The Game of TV with a report there. I went through that in the last stream. Not to be that guy, but yeah, I've already spoken about that. I actually don't mind the gamble sometimes on Rasmus and Ugarte. Might watch a sporting game tonight now. Yeah, it's against Nacional. I'm not sure if that's going to be a great game. Probably just be a one-sided dicking, but I'm sure there'll be some footage after the game. Ruben Amorim waving to the fans, and then all the reports coming in. He's saying goodbye. So, yeah. More stuff coming in from as we get these updates every minute at the moment. Ten Hag's loyalty to Anthony over other players was a bone of contention inside the United dressing room, but it's something that we kind of already knew in it. He did have favourites at times, which pissed people off. I mean, the amount of game time Anthony got last season, eventually before Ahmad started playing, it's absolutely ridiculous. And what I thought it was basically him trying to justify spending 85 million and pushing for this player. It was football politics upstairs because it's like, Eric, you pushed for this guy to sign. We spent so much money on him and he's sat on the fucking bench. What are you doing? So he's like, we have to find a way. He's got to, find his rhythm and form. And he's never got it. Never ever got it. He'll never be successful at United. He'll go. And I'm absolutely fine with that, to be honest with you, because I think we've got... I'd rather put my trust in players like Ahmad and Garnacho, Kobe, Ugarte, Yoro, Martinez, Mazraoui. They're the ones I'm looking at the moment. Onana is much better now. They're the ones I'm looking at. I'm like, we can work with those. But the others is question marks, I think. Marcus Rashford, I don't know. Diego Dalot. I mean, the form of Dalot in the past couple of games, some of the mistakes that he's made, not getting close enough on the cross for the Fenerbahce goal. The West Ham first from Somerville, it was near his back post, although it was a bit of a ricochet. There was a situation in that West Ham game as well where I think it was Max Kilman, free header, Dalot not marking him again. Brentford game set piece, Dalot not marking again. They scored. And maybe you could say that's because De Ligt was off the pitch or what have you. But you go back to last season in Champions League, Dalot not marking his back post, Copenhagen, Galatasaray. There's loads of examples. So I'm not convinced on him. Personally. Yeah, there's loads. I'm convinced on Kobe. I like Yoro, but I need to see more of him. I like the young players that we've got. I just think we need to bring in a little bit of experience, personally. You know, like you mentioned, Rashford playing under all those managers. Do you reckon could be the instigating of mutiny, like with the massive difference in performances from the final to... Look, with Marcus Rashford, it's difficult. It's because there's two sides to this. One, he is targeted because he's from Manchester, because he's been at the club the longest. He came through the academy, and there is an expectation that's put on him when you set the benchmark of scoring 30 goals, right? We put him on a pedestal. We look to him as a talisman, a key player, and he should never be that. He should never, ever be that. In my personal opinion, he shouldn't. He could be part of a squad, and he can contribute. And I think when I watch his performance against Brentford, the playmaking side of him, you know, the cross for Garnacho is fucking unbelievable. When he simplifies his game, he's good. He's all right. He's just not... I don't think he's ever going to be in the world-class bracket. I just don't. You know, if you look at Saka, for example, how he's performing for Arsenal, came back from... He's probably still injured, but he played against Liverpool. But the goal that he scored, the consistency he's shown for Arsenal, the consistency he's shown for England, Marcus Rashford never, ever had that. Ever. And he dips in and out way too much. So, in relation to the instigator, I don't think he's an instigator. I just think because he's from Manchester, because he's a United fan, boyhood club, I think he feels it more than others, and sometimes gets a bit over-emotional. And people might say, well, he doesn't show emotion on the pitch, what have you, but you could tell he's in his head a little bit too much. That's just my take on it. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy to be, like, stirring the pot a little bit or anything like that. But I don't like some of the PR stuff that he does. And there's rumours that he leaks to, like, Luckhurst main leak is Marcus Rashford. That kind of stuff around him I don't like. But I don't know. I don't know the full extent of it, so I can only speculate on certain aspects of that. I was more talking his influence on other players behind closed doors. Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. Hopefully I got round to the point. Again, I went round the houses. But thing is, Rashford's been good this season. The manager was a clown with him. Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it? Because you look at him, like last season, he was playing shit week in, week out. And I would probably say about 80% of the viewers who was watching on this channel at the time was like, why is he not dropping him? Why is he just playing him week in, week out? He's been shit. And it was like he was waiting for something to magically happen and for him to start scoring, and it just didn't happen. Then, right, new season, looking fresh in pre-season, building his confidence, starts to look good, you take him off. And you're going, hold on a minute. You've been trying to grind this form out of him for a year and kept him on the pitch when he's gone stale. Now he's starting to grind. Now he's starting to show what he's about. You take him off. That's poor man management. Poor man management. That didn't make no sense to me whatsoever. So that's another thing Amorim needs to get right. But I go back to it. Some of these players have shown it before on the different managers. I'm not sure, and I've said it before, I'm not sure we can win a Premier League or a Champions League with players like Rashford and Bruno. I don't see it personally. And not because I doubt Bruno Fernandes's ability, because I don't. I doubt his temperament and consistency and how he performs in the big games. Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League because he shows up in the big games. I've watched him perform against Real Madrid, against Arsenal, against Liverpool. Assist, goals, whatever it is. I've seen Bruno go so quiet in some of the big games. So quiet. But then he can turn up. So that's the issue. That's probably the biggest issue. Inconsistency is a theme of United as a whole in total. From the reason why we struggle as a team is because, can any of you guys tell me what our strongest 11 is? There's not one person. Maybe they could tell us what they think it is on paper, but you can't tell me what our strongest 11 is right now because we don't know. I mean, how many times did you change the back five? 4. How many times did you change the midfield? How many times did you change the front 3? How do you expect to get any consistency and performance out of that when you're chopping and changing all the time? Can't do it. Can't do it. Out of the last 5 seasons, Rashford had 3 of them when he scored and assisted 20 plus. One of them he got 30. He can get back there 100%. If that's your belief, David, that's absolutely fine. But me and Marcus Rashford, I'm done with him. Completely done with him. Self-sabotage by Ten Hag, like playing Majori at 10 and dropping Ugarte constantly. Every single one of the players will fill their boots now. They're all playing for a place in the 11 again, trying to press a manager. Watch the difference in effort and ground covered. Yeah. Game of TV saying Ajax and Flamengo are among clubs interested in Anthony. Don R saying I agree Bruno is not it. And Elite saying Ray apparently was going to leave this summer regardless. Any quick updates before I head off? Beanie Man Sports are set to release Erik Ten Hag's actual last Manchester United press conference, which is a preview for the Leicester game and was recorded straight after West Ham lost. It'll be released in 25 minutes. So I heard the reports that they weren't going to release it out of respect, but apparently Beanie Man have gone, fuck that, we're going to drop it. So we are going to see Erik Ten Hag's final press conference as a Manchester United manager. And we're going to see that about 1:30, which is very interesting. And obviously we'll have the reaction for that probably on the 6 o'clock show. I still need to film this video about Ruben Amorim as well. Manchester United are not currently in the race for Vicar Gyökeres. It's a matter of waiting to see what could happen if, well, obviously, I mean, you know, I'm not talking about recruitment already, are they? Jesus Christ. How does Bruno play in a 3-4-3? Is he going to be part of a midfield? No, I don't think so. I think he'd be part of the inside forwards, basically. How Mount was at Chelsea, I think. More in the midfield roles, you'll see Ugarte and Mainu, I would probably suggest. Anthony can go for free for me. Brazilian passport is snide. He's from Venezuela. No disrespect to Venezuelans. Could be someone in the chat. I'm sure there are those who don't give a fuck about that gaff talk. Diamond gaff talk. What's that gaff talk? I don't know what you're on about. Diamond and up top. Anyway, I'm waffling on here, guys. Yeah, we did do this second stream because the first stream, when it was at our peak, when we was talking and conversating, just completely crashed, and I have no idea why. But one thing I will say is, it's nice to see so many of you in the chat. I hope you've had a really good start to your week. And saying that, it's Tuesday, innit? Yeah, it's still start of the week, innit, technically, who knows. A lot of stuff coming up, been very, very busy. You know, you got the Leicester game. So, oh shit, I've got to do that as well. So, after this, me and Sam are going to go do the Leicester preview. Obviously, we play them in the Carabao Cup tomorrow night. I've got that Ruben Amorim video that I need to film, and then a live on top of that as well. And I'm in work tonight at 5. And then we've got the game, the pre-match build-up, post-match. We've got all the stuff still going on with Amorim, and then we've got Chelsea on the weekend as well. So it's going to be busy, busy, busy on this channel. So please do, if you can, it takes 2 seconds. It's absolutely free. Turn on the notification bell. Subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10K, and that's because of you guys. So big up yourselves, every single one of you who are in the chat. Thank you for tuning in, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you for the Leicester preview as well.